Hello everybody, how are you doing? Thank you for joining me. Hope you're all doing well for this Band on the Run themed live stream. It's been a while. I don't think I've done a live stream since the Beatles Red and Blue albums came out. And I'm trying to do them more often this year. That is my aim, to do more live streams this year than I did last year. It was very difficult last year for various reasons. Been really busy was one of them. But here we are. Hello everybody. Can you all hear me? Can you all hear me? People saying they can hear me. Hello. Thank you all. Here's what I think is gonna happen tonight. If everything goes to plan, we'll have a bit of a chat about Band on the Run, the new Band on the Run release, the underdubbed album. And we're going to do a World Cup. I've not done a World Cup for ages. I can't remember when the last one was or what it was about, to be honest. But it's going to be, my mic's off. Oh, some people are saying loud and clear. Some people are saying my mic's off. Okay. Hopefully it's okay. Hopefully you can hear me. Yeah, you can hear me. Okay, good. I'm going to do this World Cup of Band on the Run songs, where you're going to choose the winners. We're going to pit the songs against each other in a knockout draw and see which comes out on top. So hopefully that'll be a bit of fun, and then we'll just generally have a chat about anything you want after that. Could still be Band on the Run, could be absolutely anything else. So I think you can hear me. It's weird. I always do tests to make sure everything's working. I was going to play some guitar tonight. I was going to do a bit of Band on the Run. But something really weird's happening with this mic. I think it's working fine when I speak, but as soon as I start playing guitar, I don't know if it's because of the frequencies of it or what, just kept cutting out. So I don't think that's going to work, to be honest, me doing that. Never mind. So hello everybody who's saying hello. Hopefully you can see and hear me okay. Hi Martin, Band on the Run has 3 standout songs, 3 of Paul's best. You've been vague there, you're not saying what songs they are. I'm guessing the title track, I'm guessing 1985, and then maybe Jet, maybe Bluebird, not sure. Jonathan Robertson, yeah, let's shout out to Denny Lane, rest in peace Denny Lane. Of course, we lost him not too long ago, and what a massive part of this album he is, and various other albums as well. So it's a shame Denny's no longer with us, isn't it? Only 2 people from that Band on the Run album cover still with us, unfortunately. Let's get you that cover there. Thankfully, Paul's one of them, and then we've still got John Conte. Other side. Where am I? I'm losing my spatial awareness. John Conte, there, still with us. Everybody else, gone. It's a shame. So, anyway, first question of the night to you all. First question of the night, I just want you to answer, what is your favourite song on Band on the Run? We'll see whether or not the World Cup plays out in that way, but just type out what is your favourite song on Band on the Run. Let's hear it all. We're going to talk a little bit about this underdubbed version as well. Hopefully a lot of you have had a chance to have a listen to that now. A lot of people are very angry about underdubbed and really are not happy about the fact that it's been released at all, which I don't understand that, to be honest. You know, if somebody offered us the chance to, do you want to hear what Band on the Run sounded like a few weeks before it was finished? You know, before the orchestration and sort of while it was in progress, what it was like at that point. Ooh, yeah, please. And that's what we've got. So anyway, we've got some songs coming through. We've got Bluebird, 1985, Jet's getting fair few. It seems to be Jet and 1985 getting a lot of votes here. I hope they don't get drawn against each other in the first round. That would be annoying, wouldn't it? Band on the Run or Let Me Roll It. Mrs. Vanderbilt's getting a vote. That's good. Difficult question, says Reese. It's out of Jet 1985 or Mamounia. Okay, good to see Mamounia getting a vote. Sphere Evil, is that right? Have I pronounced that right? Underdubbed feels like a demo. It does. So they weren't demos. They were, in some cases, they weren't the finished articles, but they were. It's beyond the demo stage. Hi Alan, some people say they'd prefer earlier demos as underdubbed to close to final version. Yeah, I mean, still, if we could get those demos that were done up in Scotland with Denny Sywell and Henry McCulloch, that would be the ultimate. We know that Paul got robbed of a tape in Nigeria, but it seems that that was a copy. So hopefully it's in his archive somewhere still, and it'd be amazing if that could be released sometime. Denny Sywell's always said he prefers it to the actual album. He might be a little bit biased there, but yeah. Pablo loves vinyl. How are you doing? You played the underdubbed vinyl this afternoon and very pleased. Yeah, fantastic. Martin, I think you might be being a little bit sarcastic there. What's the story behind Picasso's last words? Never heard Paul speak about it. He's certainly spoken about it, hasn't he? Over the years. First time I remember hearing him talk about it was right when I was becoming a Paul McCartney fan in 1989, when he did the McCartney on McCartney series on Radio 1, being interviewed by Mike Reid, and he talked there. I mean, that was just me learning about Paul McCartney at that time. And of course, he told me the Dustin Hoffman story there. Raymond Habat, to me and many others, won't be ordering the box because of UNG shipping policies. Oh, that's a shame. That's a shame. I don't particularly like Universal. I think the way they do some things are rubbish, to be honest. It's a shame if they're actually missing out, and well, more of a shame if fans like yourself are missing out because of that. Moz Art, nice to have you back live, Andrew. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here. Emilio, why 1985 underdubbed only has the instrumental but not vocals? Okay, so here's the story for anybody who's not aware of it yet. On 14th of October 1973, Jeff Emerick put together mixes so far of where they were at that time with each song, mainly because that was needed to hand over to Tony Visconti, because he had like a weekend to write the score, because 3 days later on the 17th of October was the orchestration session, so he had to write it all, and it was mixes mainly for, I mean, obviously Paul would have wanted them as well to see where they were at, but also for him to assess where are the songs, what needs orchestrating, how's it going to go, what speed's it going to be at. And at that point, 1985, the lead vocal hadn't been recorded. So it's a snapshot of where it was on that day. And on that day, he hadn't sung it yet. So, because it was originally called, was it called The Piano Thing for a while? It was, and you can imagine that piano was brilliant. It's the sort of thing that years later he might have left as an instrumental at the end of an album. Thankfully, he didn't. Hey Sheffield and Beyond, how are you doing? Not spoken to you for a while. Can I have a shout out to my sister who's not feeling too well? Well, if she's watching, hello Sheffield and Beyond sister. Hope you're getting better soon. Paul, you enjoyed the No Words underdub mix? Yeah, I enjoyed that as well very much. I think I mentioned on my review video the other day that I've always thought that No Words, to me, feels a little bit out of place on Band on the Run. It feels more like a Red Rose Speedway era song. But then listening to this underdubbed version, I thought, wow, this would fit brilliantly on Wildlife, as it is, as a underdubbed version. So yeah, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this World Cup. Are we about ready? Have we got? I think we've got a few people knocking around. Hopefully, how many have we got? We've got 157 people. Thank you all for being here on this Sunday night. So here's how it's going to work. Let me just get something up on screen for you. I'm going to do a draw. It's going to be like a proper knockout draw, which I've got here. Now, I thought about, do I include Helen Wheels or don't I? And I thought, yes, I will, because it's included on this release. This version of Band on the Run has Helen Wheels, so it's going in, but it's going to have to go through a preliminary round. We've got 10 songs. We've got to get them down to 8. Here's a little bit of housekeeping, folks. We've got to get them down to 8 so that it works as a nice knockout. So we need 2 preliminary matches to get rid of 2 songs to leave us with 8. Helen Wheels is going to be one of those preliminary songs. So I've got all the other songs in this bag, but Helen Wheels is there. The two yellow ones that you see, they're going to be preliminary rounds. So shall we do the draw? Shall we do the draw? Here we go. It's like the FA Cup, this, isn't it? So we've got, first out, this is going to play Helen Wheels in a preliminary round. 1985. Okay, excellent. Right, good. I'm gonna make a note of these as we go along. I'm just gonna type 1985 because it takes too blooming long for that. Okay, so the winner of that is going to play, when we get to it, to the first round proper, Picasso's Last Words. Okay, so let's do this Picasso. I'll put that in there. And then our next match in the first round is going to be Bluebird versus, what we got here? Let Me Roll It. Ooh, that's a big clash. Right, let's make a note of that before we forget that. Bluebird is going to play Let Me Roll It. You're not voting yet. This is we're just doing the draw at the moment. We'll come on to the votes in a bit. Okay, our next match is going to be, I'll try and pull two out here, so I'll have to keep going back in. We've got Jet is going to play No Words. Jet versus No Words. Okay, fine. Let's get that down there. You're still all with me? Oh, my typing's a bit rubbish there, isn't it? Jet versus No Words. Okay, let's see if I can pull two more. I've got two. Yeah, okay. Oh, is this the last two? Oh no, sorry. I just want one here. It'll make sense in a minute. I just want one here. Mrs. Vanderbilt. Okay, let's get that down there. Vanderbilt. Okay, and then we should have two left in here, and they're going to play the other preliminary round. We've got two left in here. That worked. We've got Band on the Run is going to play against, what haven't we had yet? Mamounia. Band on the Run versus Mamounia is going to be a preliminary round to see who plays against Mrs. Vanderbilt. Apologise for my terrible spelling here. Let's fix that. Anyway, right. So that's the draw done. We'll come back to that in a moment. Let's have a look at the chat. Okay. So, Jonathan Robertson, will there be VAR? Absolutely not. I detest VAR. It is playing no part in this. All I will say is, if any of the polls, because I'm going to run this as polls, and then if it's complete landslide, we'll stop it early. Otherwise, I might let it run a bit. If I stop it and it's level, which is unlikely, if it's a draw, I will have the casting vote. Okay, it's unlikely that will need to happen. So Helen Wheels sounds like the Bay City Rollers. I keep forgetting I can do this. I can get things up on screen. I always forget I can do that. Helen Wheels sounds like the Bay City Rollers. Fair enough. Yeah, just good old fashioned, straightforward rock and roll. Bluebird is good and unfairly compared to Blackbird. Any song compared to Blackbird comes up short. That's fair enough. I think Bluebird does a pretty fine job though. Christopher, I don't think you're confident that Mamounia is going to make it through that preliminary round. Okay. Yes, Alan, it does say Band on the Run. It's because I'm under pressure. I'm under pressure here. I don't have assistance. This isn't the BBC. I'm running this gaff on my own, trying to talk and type at the same time. There you go. I've fixed that for you. Hopefully, there's no other issues there. I wasn't happy a couple of hours ago. Let's just put it like that. Right, okay. So, shall we do this? Shall we do these two preliminary matches first of all? Then that we've got, in a moment. I'm gonna put up a poll on screen for you to. Should be able to click on it and select your choice. So we're literally just asking here, which is your favourite of these two songs? Which song would you like to see go forward to the next round? Don't get me started on Alan Partridge. I'll be here all night. This is cheese. Anyway, right. So we've got Helen Wheels. I'm going to start a poll. I've got to type it. I've got to type these all again. So Helen, I'll try and be a bit more careful this time with my typing. So you should have a poll through now. For Helen Wheels versus 1985, you just need to click on which one you prefer and which one you want to send into the next round. Okay, so let's see how that goes. Hey P, how are you doing? Good to see you. I learned one thing with this release. If Paul will release a 50th anniversary of Venus and Mars, you'll just go for the original half speed, but no more underdubs for me. Fair enough. I certainly hope he's going to continue with this half speed remaster campaign. It'd be interesting to see. Venus and Mars is the one album of his that I think lots of people, including me, say really could do with a remix. Is he ever going to go down that route? We'll see. We will find out. Wannabe Beetle Paul McMichael. Hey Andrew, what brand of strings are you using on your acoustic? Do you know, I haven't changed the strings for so long because I hardly ever play it these days. Usually Ernie Ball or D'Addario would be the, or Elixir. I quite like, that's probably more on my electric. Ernie Ball, D'Addario probably more often than not. Anyway, how's this poll going? Let's have a look. I think we can see which way this is going. We've had 94 votes. Come on, let's get to 100 votes. If you haven't voted yet, I'm not cutting this poll off until it's got 100 votes. So 96 at the moment. So let's just have a few more votes. We know which way it's going to go. It's going to be 1985 into the final. But come on, let's have those last few votes. There's 186 people watching, so I would hope we can get 100 votes here. We can do this. We're up to 97. Do you know what? Stuff it. Let's end the poll. It was on 99 when I ended it. But anyway, 1985 has won convincingly in that. And it is going through to the first round proper, where it will play Picasso's Last Words. We'll come on to that in a moment. We're going to do the other preliminary round first. What kind of strings are on my lamp? I have no idea, actually, because I didn't make that lamp. It was made for me, custom made. Don't know what I put on there. You can't play it anyway. In fact, they've got any string? No, it's only got strings on the headstock there. Right, we're going to do the next preliminary round now, which is Band on the Run versus Mamunia. So again, it's going to be a poll. We're going to see which of those songs. We'll see if we can type it properly this time. Band on the Run. Yeah, I've typed that properly. Versus Mamunia. You'll have that poll through now. So again, which of these two songs do you want to send through to the next round? And that will be our two preliminary rounds done. So let's see how this ends up. And let's go back to the comments while that's happening and see what we've got. Captain Mike Apton, hello. Venus and Mars is your second favourite Paul McCartney album after Band on the Run. You'll be hopefully looking forward to or maybe you're not looking forward to a 50th anniversary remaster next year. Is there any need for a poll here, says Bailey. Well, probably not, looking at how it's going so far. It's going to be 80. Well, at the moment it's 86% for Band on the Run. No great surprise, I don't think. But you know, there's very little slack on Band on the Run, is there? So any one of these songs could have done very well if they'd been on certain other albums, and they might have been the stars of those albums. Beetle Owl, this one hurts. You love them both, but which did you vote for? Martin says always felt Band on the Run cover was Paul's Pepper cover. Yeah, he certainly created a very memorable album cover with that, didn't he? Anyway, we can see which way this one's going as well. We've got to 100 votes on this one. Thank you. We're up to 102 now. Fantastic. It's a landslide. Let's end that poll. We can put that poll out of its misery. I'm sure there will be closer polls to come. So we will see soon what the final result. What was the final result on that other poll anyway? It doesn't tell me. It doesn't tell me, does it? Anyway, so Band on the Run clearly won that poll. So let's put that into the next round. So we've whittled it down to 8. So that's nice for a draw. 8, 4, 2, 1. Excellent. So that's the preliminary rounds done. Let's get that like that. Get that over there. Right. So are we ready then for round 1 proper? We've got 1985 versus Picasso's Last Words as our first round match. So I'm just typing these out. So you should have that through now. 1985 versus Picasso's Last Words. Again, you're voting to put one of these into the semi-final. Which one is it going to be? So I'd be surprised if this was close, but we'll see. Harry, you actually prefer the underdubbed version of the album. Interesting, right? I'm really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying listening to how it was at certain points, and I think I'm realising just what a massive part of the album the strings were when you hear it without, but hearing it without, other things come to the fore. Things like, what was it I was thinking of? The bass line in No Words. I've never really noticed it too much before, but I'm really enjoying listening to that. This one, come on, let's get to 100 votes from 98 votes at the moment, 99 votes. This is only going one way, isn't it? We've got 100 votes. We can end that. 75% of you have voted for 1985. It's no surprise that that's doing well. I can see some interesting semi-final clashes coming up here. This is going to get a bit tasty, I think, at some point. Okay, so we've got our first semi-finalist. Let's just see if we've got anything on the chat before we do the next. Richard, you voted wrong. You're not thinking straight. Come on. Get your brain in gear. Jet, hi Ben. Jet is very interesting on the underdubs. Yeah, it certainly is. Without the brass, you can hear the piano a lot more in the intro, certainly. So it's good. Hi Cristiano, have any promotional products been released for this edition of Band on the Run? Not that I've seen or heard of. I don't think they've ever done any for these half-speed remasters. Certainly not that I've seen or had or seen anybody else getting. Okay, right, so let us do the next contest. So our next round one match is going to be Bluebird versus Let Me Roll It. This could be interesting. I'm intrigued to see which way this is going to go. So you should have that pull through now. So you can vote on Bluebird versus Let Me Roll It. This is to go into the semi-final. This is for the right to play 1985 in the semi-final. So let's see how this one would go. George, you would love to hear a demo of Maybe I'm Amazed. Yeah, I don't know whether such a thing exists or not. But that would be awesome. Yeah, this is a closer match. We've got a close match. It was always going to happen eventually. We know which way Paul is going to vote. Then you've never liked Roll With It. Roll With It? Roll It. Let Me Roll It. I was thinking of Roll With It by Oasis for a second there. What else have we got? Hi George, did Paul suggest this release? I don't know. I don't know whether this campaign is his idea or the record company's idea. So I don't know the answer to that one. Hi David, how you doing? You're glad Helen Wheels got knocked out, as it should never be on the album. I agree with you there, to be honest. So how are we doing here? Right, don't miss out on voting here. I'm noticing that this close vote has encouraged more people to actually vote. We've had 111 votes so far. 54% of you are going with Let Me Roll It. Wow. Bluebird could be getting knocked out at the first hurdle. Incredible. I love Bluebird. I really love that song. Interesting. Okay, I'm just going to give that another 20 odd seconds or so, but I'm not sure that Bluebird's going to catch up here. If you want Bluebird through into the next round, you better vote for it pretty quickly, because I'm going to end this poll soon. And if you wanted it through and you haven't voted for it, it's your fault, not mine. It's yours. It's not catching up. 54% of you are on Let Me Roll It. I'm about to end this poll. I've done it. I've ended the poll. 54% of you voted for Let Me Roll It. I mean, it's a great song, of course it is. It's not the way I'd have voted. Quite upset. But, you know, this is what happens. It's people have spoken, haven't they? Let Me Roll It is going into the semi-final. Interesting. Well, that's the top half of the draw for the semi-final done. Let's see what everything... Let's see what's coming through on the chat. What have we got? Paula, I'm shocked and stunned as well. I'm very stunned, like Barry Wom in the Ruttles. Very stunned. What song of John's does Let Me Roll It sound like? Well, that guitar riff is presumably clearly based on Cold Turkey. It has to be. Even though officially by this point they'd stopped sort of bickering at each other in songs. Was this one of the last rolls of that dice? Hey Lila, how you doing? How many people are still alive on the Band on the Run cover? Well, we did discuss this a few minutes ago. I'm guessing you weren't here then. We were saying that only 2. Thankfully, Paul is one of them. And also John Conte, the boxer at the end there from Liverpool. He's still with us, but that's it now, just the 2 of them. Right, what have we got? Should we do our next first round match, which is going to be Jet versus No Words? Okay, so let me get this poll ready for you. You should have it by now. You should have that poll. Even though I'm still typing it out, by the time difference, you should have it. Jet versus No Words. I mean, I'd be fairly confident which way this one's going to go, but we'll see. We will see. Captain Mike, you're happy with the results so far. Okay, Let Me Roll It slightly better than Bluebird. Fair enough. Oh, did John rip off Let Me Roll It riff on Beef Jerky? Yes, that was very similar, wasn't it? I really hope that... Obviously, we're getting Mind Games this year in June. I'm really hoping that then we'll get a Walls and Bridges Ultimate Edition set. That's because outside of the really big hitter albums, Walls and Bridges is probably my favourite, so I'll be really looking forward to that. Good question here from Paul. I know it's caused some confusion with some people. Is the new release the same mix as the Archive Collection CD? All right, let me show you something here. Let me show you something from this CD that just arrived yesterday. I'll just take that off. Yeah, yes, it's the same mix. It's absolutely the same mix. But I don't know whether you'll be able to see this on here. Let me just find out which. So it does say, it might be difficult for you to read, but it's 2010. It's credited as the 2010 mastering, which is the Archive Collection. So essentially what you're getting on the main disc of the 2-disc version is the Archive Collection mastering, but the US track list. So I don't think that's a configuration that's ever been released before. Because I was trying to think, what's the point of that disc 1? And if there is a point to the disc 1, it's that we've not had the US track listing before as an Archive Collection remaster. So I hope that answers your question, Paul. So anyway, how's this poll doing? Yeah, that's not far off what I would have expected. We're getting more votes now. 117 votes we've had on this one. Thank you very much, everybody. 79% of you are going for Jet, so that's clearly won this poll. So we'll end that poll, and we are putting Jet. Jet has jetted into the semi-finals, where it will play either Mrs. Vanderbilt or Band on the Run. So that's going to be coming up in a moment. Coming up like a flower. Throat. I might need a little drink shortly just to keep the throat lubricated. Interesting, Paul. I've heard a few people say this. I've never quite grasped it. No Words sounds so George. You know, I'm going to have to listen to it with that in mind because I've heard that mentioned before and I've never quite sort of seen that connection. Does it remind you of any particular songs of George? I don't know. Mozart, even your friends who hate Paul love Let Me Roll It. Well, there's only one answer to that. Get some new friends, basically. Get some. I can't fathom people who hate punk. It's an attitude that doesn't sit well with me. I don't get it. Band on the Run, 1985, Jet, Mrs. Vanderbilt are all worthy. Yep, definitely. Okay. Hello, John. Sorry you're a bit late. Well, you are forgiven. If you can just send in a note, and we will excuse you. We won't put you on the naughty list. But you're here for some. You're here in time for the last first round match, and then the semi-finals. Greg, you picked up the SHM CD. Sounds better than the download. Actually, that's just reminded me of something there. I know some people have said that they've held off buying the underdubbed version because they don't like the fact that you can you have to buy the main album with it again, and you don't have to. I've noticed, for example, you can buy a high-res download. All right, some of you might not do high-res downloads, but that's your choice. It is available to buy on its own as a download. It's just if you want to have it as a physical copy, then it's you need to have the main album with it as well. What's this that's grabbed my attention? Wannabe Beetle. Have you heard the rumours about Paul's cavern base was just found? I heard that today, but I ain't holding my breath. This is the one that presumably that they've been looking for. There's been a bit of a campaign going on, hasn't there, over the last few months, and it was thought that it got lost. Was it around about 1972, or was it? Yeah. Is this the one? Okay, right. Okay, I've not heard about that, but I'll find out all about it at some point. Hi Tim, and for anybody else who's thinking the same thing, what happened to Mamounia? Let me just show you. On our we had to get 10 songs down to 8 so that we could do a knockout draw. So we had two preliminary matches which I drew out of the hat. Mamounia got knocked out by Band on the Run in a preliminary round, and Helen Wheels got knocked out by 1985 in the preliminary round. Don't make me say that word again, please. Thank you. Yeah, do you know what, Harry? I was having some issues with. I couldn't quite get the sound right before I came on tonight. And as I was saying a few minutes ago, I was planning to play a bit of Band on the Run guitar tonight, but every time I switched to my guitar, it kept cutting out. So I don't know whether there's something's a bit weird going on with my mic tonight, but I hope it's not causing anybody a problem. Anyway. Right. James, have I heard of the John Lennon Syracuse All-Star recording? He asks, going completely off topic, but never mind. No, I haven't actually. Tell me more. Tell me more. Did you get very far? So anyway, let's do our next first round match. Mrs. Vanderbilt versus Band on the Run. I'm going to get you a poll coming for this. So again, for any of you who are maybe just joining us, not done this before, you'll see a poll appear on your screen. I want you to click on which one is your favourite of these so that you can send it through into the next round. Okay? I think I might have just done a little bit of a spelling mistake. Oh yes, it's Bernard on the Run. Never mind. Pretend it says Band and not Bernard. Do you prefer Bernard on the Run or Mrs. Vanderbilt? So let's get one of these through into the semi-final. Okay. Okay, sounds fine. Good. So yes, it is Bernard on the Run. It's my typing skills. Trying to type and talk at the same time is is clearly been beyond my capabilities, as we are seeing. Hey Reese, you okay? I watched Rock Show earlier today. Fantastic. Always forget how amazing it is. Best live concert ever. Yeah, so I went to. I remember when when they re-released it back in. Was it about 2013ish? I went to the cinema to see it because I'd only ever seen it on sort of rubbishy VHS up to that point years earlier. And what really struck me was just how much Denny Lane contributed to that band live. He was, I mean, obviously he wasn't the star of the show. There was only one star of the show, Linda. No, but I got a massive appreciation more for Denny Lane that night, seeing that. So let's have a look at how this poll's going. Yeah, I mean, this is a. Do you know what? We've had some corkers knocked out in this first round, haven't we? There's another one, Mrs. Vanderbilt. Fantastic song. Isn't it supposed to be like Paul's most popular song in Ukraine or something like that? I seem to remember. I might have got the country wrong, but I think that was right. Yeah, so, okay, 141 votes. Thank you very much. The number of votes is going up. I'm going to end this poll because it's clearly a landslide for Bnad on the Run. Is going straight into the semi-final. Well, not straight in because it already won a preliminary round. But here we go. Right, our semi-final lineup is complete. Interesting. Let's just... I'm just going to move this over. Just give us a bit more space, basically. Let's move that over there. So we've got our semi-final. 1985 versus Let Me Roll It. And Jet versus Band on the Run. In fact, actually, let's just bring this back so we can see what's going through. So, they're going to be... I'm just trying to have a think about these two semi-finals. Interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens here. Emilio Rock Show is amazing. The live version of Wildlife was even better than the studio, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't think they were doing the Wildlife by that point, were they? But obviously they did it in the 72 tour. And sounds great. And I loved the visuals that they had behind them, the sort of African plains scenes that they had going on behind it. It looked really good. Okay. Beetle Boys posing an interesting maths question. We've lost a percent somewhere. Thankfully, it doesn't impact the final outcome. Doug's saying, where can you find the digital download? Well, personally, if I was going to download it, I would download it from Qobuz, which is Qubz. Qobuz is where I would get it from. There's other places as well, but that's my go-to for digital downloads. Yeah, should we get the first semi-final kicked off, which is going to be 1985 versus Let Me Roll It? Interesting. I mean, those of you that were around for the draw, you will have seen it was a very fair draw. I didn't have hot balls, if you'll pardon the phrase, where I was keeping certain songs apart from each other. That wasn't happening. But we've got 4 big hitters through here. So it's not like when I did my World Cup of John Lennon solo albums. And sometime in New York City got to the semi-final, which who'd have predicted that? That was a long time ago. But that was just like the sort of luck of the draw of how things came out. But, that's what happens in sporting events, isn't it? You get the FA Cup and you get the little minnows drawn against the giants. But they've kept themselves fairly separate this time. So anyway, we've got 1985 versus Let Me Roll It. I can see you've not even waited for me. This is rude. I didn't even say you could vote yet. And you've just all blooming gone and done it. I'm outraged. No, thank you very much. 1985 has taken an early lead. Interesting. Mr. Writer says, Andrew had a tartan. I had a tartan ball bag. No minds. This was it. This was it. Could I say it was made especially for tonight? No, but it was made by my missus a few weeks ago for me to keep some of this hi-fi equipment in when it's not been used. And I thought, I'll use it for the draw tonight. Claire says, I think we all know where this is going. Well, I'm going to give it a little bit longer. 60% for 1985. While you argue amongst yourselves, I'm just going to have a little top, just to soothe the throat, a little Ochentoshen. It's nearly all gone actually, but I did get this bottle over 2 years ago, so I haven't exactly rattled through it. We might as well finish it while we're here. Finish it for a special occasion, the Band on the Run World Cup. So, cheers everybody. Anyway, how's the poll doing? 1985 has 61%. It's going to win, isn't it? It's going to win that semi-final. So I'm going to end that poll. 1985 has knocked out Let Me Roll It and is into the final. Oops. It's into the final. What song will it face? It's going to be one of the opening 2 songs from the album, Jet or Band on the Run. Interesting. We'll see how that goes. Reese says, my favourite 2 things, McCartney and Scotch. Well, I'll have another cheers for that. Tyrone, you're drinking tea. Cheers. Well, I did have a cup of tea before I came on air in my Yellow Submarine mug. Yes, but I finished my cup of tea now. Mull of Kintyre whiskey is excellent. I've been to Campbelltown. I know that Springbank whiskey is made just near Campbelltown. Would that be the same? Would Mull of Kintyre whiskey be made by Springbank? I wonder. Is Paul on here and voting himself? Wouldn't that be cool? Make yourself known if you are. No, he's not going to be, is he? You're not mad that 1985 won, but that was a tough one. I would have voted for 1985. It doesn't actually allow me to vote on this. I don't get a vote. Come on, host. I don't even get a vote in this. You're enjoying a cider, Claire. Very nice. I love a cider. Yeah, Clive, bit early in California. Hello to California. It's okay. Well, it's 9:15 here at night, so it's allowed on a Sunday night and work in the morning. It's allowed. Lovely that. Dorset Gold. That sounds good. Is that cider? Sounds like a cider. Yeah, that's what you do with really bad whiskey. I think mix it with Coca-Cola. Anyway, what's this? Yeah, so this is a good point, Barrett. Could be interesting to seed songs based on streaming data, to avoid knocking out heavy hitters too early. We got away with it here. They did naturally keep themselves apart. Sorry, as you say, it worked pretty well this time. I tend to get slammed. I have done a couple in the past where I've done seedings, and I get a load of grief off people who don't like it, think I'm manipulating it. So I thought, no, do you know what? Straight draw. If Band on the Run gets drawn against 1985 in a preliminary round, so be it. I'm going to go with it. But yeah, it did work out quite nicely tonight. I think there was. Am I right in remembering that? I think again going back to the John Lennon solo albums one I did. I think Plastic Ono Band and Imagine got drawn against each other in the first round. But that's what can happen, isn't it? I hate Perno. Oh, rather you than me, John. So anyway, should we get on with it? Jet versus Band on the Run in the other semi-final. I am just getting you a poll ready. And I'll try and spell Band on the Run correctly this time. Band on the... Yeah, I spelled it correctly. Okay, you've got that poll through now. So this is Jet versus Band on the Run. Let us know which one do you want to send into the final. You're voting. Remember, you're voting for your favourite here that you want to send into the final to face 1985 in the Band on the Run World Cup of Songs. Copyright Andrew Dixon. Is it copyright? No, it's probably not actually. It's probably copyright FIFA. I think I would get into trouble if I started going down that road. I agree, Jonathan. This is a tough one. I'm not quite sure which way I would vote on this. If I'm being honest with myself, I think I would vote for Jet. And it looks like I would be disappointed because it looks like it's getting knocked out probably. First song versus last song. That's a well-ordered album. Absolutely. What's this? What from M.E.? Is it M.E. Anthony or M.E. Anthony? I'm not quite sure. What do you think of the underdubbed album, Andrew? Band on the Run, definitely champion. I'm really, really enjoying it. So I did my review video on Friday when I'd listened to it a couple of times at that point, and I'd written a lot of notes. But then, even at the moment when that video was going live, I'd listened to it again, and I loved it a lot more than what my video showed on Friday. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I think it's just great to have an alternative listen to where it was. Somebody was saying to me either yesterday or today that it's a shame they didn't do an underdubbed version of Helen Wheels and added that on. And I'm thinking, well, I'm glad they didn't, because what this underdubbed is, it is that snapshot of history of where the songs were. And I think if you were to now artificially create an underdubbed version of Helen Wheels and put it on, it's no longer that historical document. It's a manipulated document then. So I'm glad they didn't do that. I would just like to point out, Lila, you're wrong. That ain't going to be happening. I can guarantee you that. Clive employing an interesting strategy here. Just shut your eyes and vote where your finger landed. Okay, Clive seems to have voted for temporary secretary. I'm not quite sure how you managed that, Clive. Looking at my stats here. Anyway, we've got 148 votes. Thank you, everybody. This is fantastic, and it's quite clear which way this is going. So I'm going to end this poll now with Band on the Run going into the final, which will be coming up very shortly. Band on the Run. I've even spelt it right, as befits a finalist. So let's just review this draw shot. Let's review what's happened before we get to the final. So we had this preliminary round. So some people won't know this because you weren't here when we did this. I've got to say the word again, haven't I? Preliminary round where Helen Wheels and 1985 faced off, and Helen Wheels quite rightly got battered. Band on the Run and Mamounia, Band on the Run went through, and then we had the proper first round. The surprise to me there in that first round was that Bluebird didn't make it through. I mean, I'd have been happy to see Bluebird in the final, to be honest. I think everything else went as expected there. I thought Jet might have got closer to winning against Band on the Run, but it didn't. And we've ended up with a final. Hey, that one kicked. We've ended up with a final of 1985 versus Band on the Run, which should be... I'm not going to argue with that. Personally, I want 4 different songs in the final, but I realise that can't happen. Clive says, does the inner sleeve have the lyrics for Helen Wheels? No, it doesn't. They're not there. Has the lyrics for Helen Wheels ever appeared on that inner sleeve? I don't know, but certainly it isn't in this one, and it isn't in... Do you know what? You've just reminded me there. I honestly didn't know until I was looking on Friday. I've got an original pressing, 1973 UK original pressing of Band on the Run. I didn't even know. I knew I had an old copy, but I thought it was just some rubbishy 1980s thing. But no, I looked up the matrix numbers and everything. Original pressing. So I need to do a comparison of that versus the new half-speed master at some point. Yeah, Jonathan, Bluebird's slightly out of tune, walk down. Dum, 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 dum. Yeah, slightly out of tune, but yeah, lovely. Right, okay. Surprised 1985, not a bigger radio song on playlists. Yeah, I think it deserves it. It's probably not that well known outside of Paul McCartney fans, is it? Yeah, I don't remember ever hearing it on the radio, for example. So we're gonna do this final soon. So just to let you know, for anybody who's still joining us, still stumbling upon this live stream, 1985 versus Band on the Run are the two songs that have made it into the final, and we're going to be doing that final very shortly. Emilio says, a little bit off topic, but how many times have you seen Paul live, Andrew? Let me just think. 1, 2, 3, 4. Is it 4? Birmingham NEC, January 1990. 1st of June 2003, Liverpool King's Dock. Then there was Sheffield Arena. It was that weekend where he did a gig one night that I was at, and then the next night he cancelled. You could tell his throat was going at the end of the gig that I was at. It was on its way out at the end. And very, very rare in his lifetime, he cancelled a gig the night after. So that was 3. Then I went to Liverpool, Anfield 2008 to see him. And I don't think I've seen him since. When he headlined the European Capital City of Culture gig. Anyway, right, so let's do the final, shall we? 1985 versus Band on the Run. So anybody watching, if you haven't voted yet, now's your final chance, basically, because this is the final. I'm just going to type 1985 and Band on the Run. So that poll should be about through now. I've typed it right. We're not doing Bernard on the Run this time. This is the final. Have a good, long, hard think about this and let us know your vote. In the final, I'm trying to get some sort of big build-up here. It's the final of the Band on the Run World Cup of Songs, live from Andrews Stadium on the 4th of February 2024. Who's it going to be? Surely this final is like San Marino versus Brazil. Well, you know, it looks like this is heading one way, but 1985 I think would be an absolute worthy winner. Good question, Martin. What was the album that hooked me on the Beatles? The album that hooked me in was Sgt. Pepper, because it was one of the few albums that my mum and dad had. A few Beatles albums. They had loads of albums, but they just had a few Beatles albums. So it was that one. But then the first one that I sort of discovered for myself outside of their collection was the White Album. I went with my friend over to Germany to stay at his brother's house on an RAF base. October 1989, and his brother had the White Album on CD. I'd never seen a CD player before. I'd never seen a CD before. It was a whole new world for me. He had White Album, and I hardly knew any songs from it. So, like things like Helter Skelter and Bluebird, and I remember Piggies being a big one for me. Dear Prudence, I've never heard those songs before. So that was the first one I sort of discovered for myself that wasn't just in our house all the time. So, yeah. And it's live. Yes, it is. This is very, very live. So, how's it doing? Band on the Run has got 62% of the vote. It's unlikely that it's going to be caught, but let's see. Come on, we want to get at least 150 votes here, which is we had that earlier on. So I hope that we're going to get that again in the final. 1985 in the final. How have we got here? It's got here by being an absolutely fantastic song. I would suggest one of the great album closing songs of all time. I would say. I think it's worthy of much more than 38% of the vote, but never mind. It's not catching up though, is it? It's not catching up. We've got 149 votes. I'm not stopping this until we get to 150. Paul says, are you the only one old enough here to have seen the Wings Over America tour? I presume you're not the only one old enough here. You might be the only one here who actually saw the tour, but I'm sure there'll be others here. Okay, 152 votes. I am ending the poll. Band on the Run. I don't know how much of a surprise this is going to be to anybody, but the winner, should we do a drum roll? Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the Band on the Run World Cup of Songs 2024, defeating 1985 in the final, is the title track, Band on the Run. Congratulations to Band on the Run. You are a worthy winner. Tyrone 1985 is a true winner. I would have voted for it. I'm pretty sure I would have done. Songs should be judged differently, says Martin. Yellow Submarine isn't trying to be Hey Jude. That's true. Revolution 9 is a masterpiece. I really, really wouldn't listen to the White Album without Revolution 9 at the end. It's a part of what makes the White Album what it is. I would never stop the album at that point or skip over it for good night. Hey, Real Jackson, the poll has ended. The poll's gone. You've missed it. So I don't know whether you're I don't know if you're watching a little bit behind or whether you've just joined us, but the poll ended about probably a minute and a half ago. Band on the Run is the winner in the World Cup of Band on the Run songs. Is that the result you're all expecting? Interesting. Of course, Band on the Run's a classic song. Of course it is. I would have gladly seen something else push it a bit closer, though. I'm absolutely with you here, Loch A. The reprise of it on 1985 is the only part of the album you don't like. I just think I have this theory. I plan to do a video on it one day when I can gather all these examples together, but Paul McCartney has a habit throughout his career. He doesn't like things to get too heavy, and that's a heavy ending to a song. It's very, very dramatic, and there's loads of examples of where if something gets a bit too dramatic, Paul will puncture that and just either bring it back down to earth, or he'll inject a bit of humour, or he'll do something just to lighten the mood. He's done it loads throughout his career, and I think that is another very probably the most famous example maybe of that particular thing. It is a host nation win, Paul, absolutely. James says, right, I tell you what, now that the Band on the Run World Cup is finished, I'm not going anywhere just yet. I'm staying here for a little while. Just start sending through questions. It can be Band on the Run related, it can be something else, it can be whatever you want. Anyway, back to this, what James says. Hi Andrew, what McCartney archive album would you like to see released next? The answer might surprise you. The one that would just get me cheering the most if it was announced would be Press to Play. For various reasons. Not only because I think there could be a great archive collection in there, loads of extras, maybe the unreleased Return to Pepperland album included, maybe. But also, there's this overriding concern now that the archive collection is finished. It's done. And I really hope that's not the case. It will be such a travesty if that is the case. But if London Town and Back to the Egg got released next, we'd all be really happy. Fantastic, brilliant, that'd be great. But there would be that part of me thinking, right, well, that's it then. He's finishing it here. That's it, done. He's getting those two out of the way. That's it. But if Press to Play got announced off the ground, for example, I'd be thinking, okay, this is alive, this is still going. We're going to get London Town and Back to the Egg still, but here's some extra ones as well. So I would go with, honestly, I would say Press to Play would be the one that would just get me jumping up and down for joy the most. What's this, Andrew? I saw statistics. I'm always looking at statistics for things, but what specifically? Do you have a look at the stats for your channel's viewers, subscribers? Would be interested to know the age range, gender spread of your viewers. I haven't looked at that for a long time, but I have in the past looked at it, and what it told me was that it's predominantly UK. I think that was but it wasn't far off 40% viewers in the US. And I think gentlemen of a certain age, a few years older than me, was by far the most popular demographic. So yeah, you can, for anybody who doesn't know, you do get access to various sort of stats like that you can go and have a look at any time. And yeah, I've not looked at those for a while, but yeah, it's mainly the UK and the US, and then I think Australia next. It's weird. It always freaks me out a little bit. Just a div like me going into people's houses in other countries. It's weird. Lila, House of Wax is one of Macca's finest. I've told this story before, but I haven't told it for a long time, so there'll be a lot of people either haven't heard it or might not remember. But when Memory Almost Full first came out, I love that album, by the way. And I heard House of Wax for the first time, and my initial impression was, this is the most overblown, pompous, up its own backside nonsense I've ever heard in my life. And then the second time I heard it, I thought exactly the same thing. The third time I heard it, I started to think, I think I can see what he's doing here. I think I'm starting to get it now. And then the fourth time I heard it, and every other time since, I absolutely love House of Wax. I think it's brilliant. I love it. I've just realised that poll's still on screen, which is, I tell you what, we haven't actually done the honours officially of putting Band on the Run in the winners section. So let's do that. I'll tell you what, let's have a look at the full thing there. For anybody who's joining late, who hasn't seen the whole thing, I'm just going to put it up on screen now for a minute, so you can see the whole thing. There you go. So we had a preliminary round there because we had to whittle it down to 8. So you can see there, if you want to see how it progressed, that is it. I think the only real close one we had was Bluebird versus Let Me Roll It. I nearly said Let Me Roll With It again. I can't get Roll With It out of my head at the moment. So there you go. That's going to be your last look at that poll. I'm gonna hide that now. That's gone. Yeah, I enjoyed that World Cup. I've not done a World Cup for ages, actually. If anybody's got any suggestions for another World Cup, because as I said right at the start of this, I realise that I have been negligent in my live stream contractual obligations over the last year, and I plan to put that right. I'd like to at least do one a month, which doesn't sound much, but it'll spur me on to actually do it more often than I have been doing. So if anybody's got any ideas about other World Cups you'd like me to do, some of them I might have already done, but there might be some great ideas that I've not thought of yet. James, what did you think of Ringo announcing a full-length country album? It was a surprise, certainly, because the sort of word from Ringo over the last few years was that he's done with albums. He's just going to concentrate on EPs. So it was really nice to hear on. Was it Friday night, I think, when he did that video, when he announced it? I can only guess that the sessions just went really well, and he thought, yeah, this is going to be, we've actually got a good product here. You know, rather than setting out to make an album, and then maybe if it's not going so well, what do? Do you put an album out anyway that you don't like? This, to me, suggests he must be really happy with this. And of course, he announced another EP as well, didn't he? Is it Crooked Boy, is it called? I've not seen any detail about where you can order that. I don't think it's been formally announced yet. I think Ringo likes to go a bit off schedule sometimes, doesn't he? Like he did with the Red and Blue album when he announced that a bit early. So good idea, George. I like that. Mind Games pre-release World Cup. Yeah, tell you what, I'm going to do that in the build up to Mind Games, because I intend to be all over the Mind Games album when it sort of around May June time. Yeah, we'll do a Mind Games World Cup. That'd be interesting. Oops. Alan says, have I listened to all 45s in my wooden box? I'm still actually going through it. I've got a bookmark in there, so that I can just keep playing them in order. And I'm round about the end of the 70s at the moment. So it's just last year was just such a year for me with just not having a chance to do things. But I can see that being a bit better this year. So I will be ploughing more through that. Hi Graham, how are you doing? You're putting away your Band on the Run today and clearly forgotten the 4 CD box set that we had some years ago. Have I played it and have we now got anything different from our new issue? The 4 CD box set. Is that the no, the archive collection was only, that wasn't 4 CDs, the 25th anniversary. I'm not quite sure which release you mean, Graham. Do you want to just let me know? We need vinyl reissues of London Town and Back to the Egg. Yeah, definitely. We absolutely do. If we can't get archive collections, please can we at least have vinyl reissues of them? That would be great. I bought an original pressing of London Town a couple of years ago, which really sounds good, and it left me thinking, well, they're gonna have to go some to beat this. Hey Tyrone, am I going to the Yoko exhibition in London? I don't have any plans to. I've not. If I go to London, then there's a good chance that I will do that. And to be honest, it's quite easy now. Where I live, there's a direct train that's only just over a couple of hours into King's Cross, just down the road from me. So I did it a couple of times last year, and it was an easy trip to do. James says it would have been interesting if Ringo had done a mix of rock and roll and country on his next album. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see, I mean, how close. I don't expect it to sound anything like Bokus of Blues. I mean, that was. I can't imagine it being as sort of stripped back and acoustic sounding as that, but it'd be great. And could it even be Bokus of Blues 2? That'd be fun. You know, if it has been done sort of stylistically like that. Which band would make the best Beatles McCartney tribute band? Well, that's an easy question. I think the Lemon Twigs, my favourite band of the moment. They've got some videos, someone recorded them live at one of the gigs a few months ago, and what song was it? It was something from A Hard Day's Night, I think, or Beatles for Sale. Just fantastic. I mean, these guys are in their early 20s. But then I suppose the Beatles were then. They do some great Beatles songs live. Rain Clouds, Smacker's best B-side. Well, it's a historically important song, isn't it? Rain Clouds. That was the song that he was working on when he went into the studio on 9th of December 1980, when he had to get out of the house and just not be at home. And Rain Clouds was the song that he did there, wasn't it? Carry On Films World Cup. You know, I'd do it, but I would like to, for the amount of time and effort that would go into that, I would like there to be more than about 3 people watching. But I'd do it, and I can tell you exactly what I would vote for the win. Carry On at Your Convenience. I wouldn't vote for anything over that. All Kinds of Collecting, hello there. I know you're a Beach Boys fan as well. Do you think we could have a Brian Wilson Smile 20th anniversary? God, yeah, it's not far off 20 years, is it? Wow, since Smile. Do you know, I absolutely played that album to death when that came out. I don't know. It'd be interesting. I hope Brian's doing okay after his Sad news a week or so back that his wife had passed away, so I hope he's doing well. I saw something as well earlier on today, on that morbid note, that today's the 40th anniversary of Karen Carpenter passing away. Maybe the most beautiful voice that there's ever been in the world. Anyway, Pablola's vinyl. You're all going to the Yoko exhibition on the 20th of Feb. Excellent. Lila, what's the worst track on Band on the Run? So you can avoid it. What's the worst? Well, folks, let's have your answers here. What do you think is the worst song on Band on the Run? That's a tough one. I mean, for me, I would say my least favourite song on the album is No Words. Still, I'm growing to like that song more and more as time goes on. Captain Mike, you saw a Kate Bush tribute band last month. Fantastic. Moments of Pleasure, they were fantastic. How about a Kate Bush album World Cup? And also Yes to the Carry On films. Kate Bush albums, yeah. Come on, Kate, let's have another album to throw into the mix for the World Cup. Because she could just announce one tomorrow, couldn't she, that nobody knows she's been working on for the past 12 years. Or how many years is it now since 50 Words for Snow? Somewhere around that, isn't it? Kate Bush albums World Cup. I'd certainly enjoy that one. Yeah. Anyway, we've got some answers coming through to the. Presumably, this is answers on the the worst song on Band on the Run. No Words, Picasso, No Words. Clive's subverting the genre here. Try an Unworld Cup, finding the worst in a tournament. Interesting. We'll have to have a think about that. I saw somebody mention the Lemon Twigs Do Hollywood album. Oh, here we go. Ben, yeah. That was the first album I listened to, so when of theirs I listened to. Because I was going to see them supporting Arctic Monkeys in 2018, and it was just before Go to School album came out, so Do Hollywood was the only one that was out when I was listening. And These Words is a fantastic song on there. There's a few on there that I'm not so keen on, but yeah, there's some great songs on that album. Fantastic band. I cannot recommend to the sort of people who might frequent a Band on the Run World Cup live stream. To that group of people, I don't think I could recommend the Lemon Twigs enough. 50 Words for Snow, 13 years ago now. Okay, fair enough. Okay, the Band on... This is going back to Graham's comment, isn't it? The Band on the Run was 4 discs. Was it? Okay, fair enough. I can't remember what the question was now from Graham. But yeah, fair enough. I didn't remember there being as many as 4, as they say in the In-Betweeners. As many as 4. Yeah, there was a DVD that did have some one-hand clapping stuff on there. And various other bits and pieces. Jonathan also likes the idea of an Unworld Cup, picking the worst from an album or a series of albums. Interesting. It's a bit negative. I know some people who would who thrive on that kind of negativity on YouTube. I try not to be. One thing I was going to mention that I was thinking about the other day, with this Band on the Run and the underdubbed and the fact that it's already not easy to order online in the UK. It says that they're getting more stocking soon. I suspect they might be getting some stocking from America where it has been online. I think what this has proved yet again, and I just can't fathom how the team that come up with some of the McCartney releases, I can't fathom how their mind works. This has proven yet again that on a Paul McCartney release, if you offer people something additional that they've not already got, whether it's an underdubbed album or whether it's like the Wings Live Over Europe from the Retro Speedway box, various other things, the 7-inch singles crate that I've got down here, if you offer them something they haven't already got in terms of music content, you are going to sell loads of them. You are going to sell your allocation out and it's going to be a hit. But if you put out things that don't have extra musical content, like that ridiculous McCartney 3x3 release last month, things like the huge Flaming Pie collector's edition that was even bigger than the deluxe box set, but it had no extra musical content, or the Egypt Station Traveller's Edition suitcase that had no extra musical content. When you do that, you get left with loads of these in stock, tens and tens of thousands of pounds worth of unsold stock that surely just negates the whole point of doing the thing. When you put extra musical content on, you are going to sell this stuff and it's going to sell out and it's going to be difficult to find. Everyone's a winner. And I don't understand why they can't see this a mile off, because it's so blooming obvious. There's somebody making decisions on the McCartney side of things, and I don't necessarily think it's Paul. I think it's record companies, and they're just doing weird things, and that might be harming the chances of some other projects actually happening, of things that we want, like the blooming archive collection might have been killed by some of these silly releases that they're left with tens of thousands of pounds of unsold stock of. So anyway, that's my little rant for the night. Martin says, why change the red and blue? That was a joke, adding tracks. No. I don't think any compilation album needs to have 75 songs on it, really. Paul, you wish Team MPL would release the Atmos mixes on Blu-ray. Yeah, a lot of people would love that. Definitely, and same with the Beatles releases as well, but they don't seem to be interested in doing that for whatever reason. Beatles Villain World Cup. Imelda Marcos was Magic Alex a villain? He was more just a sort of a idiot genius, wasn't he? Was he a villain? Alan Klein he would definitely be in there. Imelda Marcos for the 1966 debacle. Interesting. The boy Dixon preaching to the converted about bad news. Well, it's a bit of a bugbear of mine. I just can't fathom the logic somehow of certain things when it's clear that you do something like this. All right, not everybody's happy about this, but it's already becoming not so easy to get hold of. And that's because they're offering us additional music content. And it's very welcome. And they're always going to sell a lot more when they do that. When am I getting 7.1 in my music? I've not even got 5.1 yet. So 7.1 is probably, if I win the lottery, then I might think about that. I haven't seen the Maypang documentary yet, Tyrone. No. I would like to see it soon. I saw this mentioned a few minutes ago and missed the comment, but no, I'm honestly not familiar with Vanilla Fudge, but maybe I should be. Maybe I need to check them out. Hey Andrew, should you look for an archive collection 2 LP band on the run or purchase this year's 50th band on the run? Well, it depends what you want. If you want the bonus tracks that are on the second LP of the archive, then that's the one to go for. I would say if you want, at the moment, I would say go for this or the vinyl version of this. Because I think the underdubbed album is probably a little bit more interesting than some of the outtakes that were on the archive collection, and I think the half-speed remaster that you get in there is a noticeably better sound quality as well, if you've got the equipment that will pick up on that. Clive, you've read Colin Hanton's book, got Prefab. Yep, that's good. That's going to be a film soon, isn't it, or a documentary film soon. I think that's about ready to come out shortly. I don't know where we're going to be able to see it, but Colin Hanton and Colin Hall have made that into a documentary, and I believe Paul McCartney is involved. Does he appear in it? Yeah, that would be good. Yeah, Beatle Boy, we talked about this about 10 minutes ago, that Ringo's going to be doing a full album. Blimey. Which we didn't think we'd see again. A Beatles and solo members live album World Cup. Okay, so you mean things like Hollywood Bowl, Wings Over America, Live Peace in Toronto, that kind of thing. George live in Japan. Where do you draw the line with Ringo though? Because Ringo puts out live albums sort of about as often as I change my socks. It doesn't. I'd like to clarify that's an exaggeration. But I could maybe take the top live album, the most top live album from each. Maybe interesting. Yeah. Jonathan, yeah, can somebody answer Jonathan's question, please? Where can you watch the Maypan documentary? Somebody did tell me a few weeks ago, and I've forgotten where you can watch it. Kathy, you watched it on Amazon Prime. Which country are you in, Kathy? Please let us know, because I think different, Amazon Prime in America might be different to the UK. Do I think that if the archive series is still alive, they would skip releasing an archive vinyl edition due to the half-speed releases? No, I think the archive collection will always include a vinyl release at the moment. I think one concern I did have was, I can't remember what the concern was. I had some concern made about London Town and Back to the Egg and the fact that we're getting a bit close. Well, we will be getting a bit close in a few years to the 50th anniversary. Would that get in the way of an archive edition? I don't know. Glyn says, did I notice on the spine on the vinyl in the Band on the Run box set, Paul said, it says Paul McCartney, whereas the individual half-speed master says the usual Paul McCartney in Wings. I didn't notice this. Let me read this again. Did I notice the spine in the box set says Paul McCartney, but the individual half-speed master says Paul in Wings? Okay. I hadn't noticed that, to be honest. No. Fair enough. Okay, you can rent the Maypang documentary on YouTube. Okay, fair enough. Thank you, Mozart. Thank you for joining. Thank you. Obi strip colours to come out easy to predict. So I'm guessing, yeah, so I was thinking, on the one hand, I was looking at this the other day and thinking, Band on the Run, why didn't they go with black? And then I thought, they must be saving black, 'cause they haven't done black yet, for Venus and Mars, because you can't have, hang on, let me get my fingers right, you can't have red, because we've had that, you can't have yellow, because we've had that. So yeah, Venus and Mars, I think, will probably be black. Is that what you're thinking? Is that what you're thinking, Richard? And then what will we have next? We'd have Speed of Sound is going to be that sort of beige yellow colour. Yeah, okay. Is Rubber Soul ever going to be remastered? Well, it'll be remixed then, before it's remastered. This year, maybe, hopefully. Unless they're really surprising us. There was some comments. Where did the comments come from? I can't remember now. That apparently this is going to be a big year for Beatles movie-related stuff. I don't know what that's going to be, but of course plans change as well. Would that get in the way of Rubber Soul? I hope not. I'll tell you what, folks, get your last comments and questions through, because we're coming up to, I'm probably going to finish this at 9:30, so we've got about 6 minutes left. And then I'm going to finish this. My throat's getting a little bit sore now. Cheers. I'll lubricate it anyway. But get your last comments through. But thank you, everybody who's been joining in, commenting, taking part in the World Cup. It's been fun to do one of those again. And like I say, I'm going to try and do live streams more often this year than what I have had. Oh, Captain Mike. Let's have a snooker loopy themed. Yeah, so actually what we've got the pop, the reds, then screw back for the yellow, green, brown, blue. We'll get black with Venus and Mars. We just need a pink. Get pink. What album could be pink? And we've got Snooker Loopy. Fantastic. I love that song. Just to move my head. You notice there what's in the middle of all the half-speed masters? That in all the Band on the Run fun on Friday, that arrived in the post. Travelling Wilburys Volume 3 on vinyl. They're doing a great deal at the moment. I got it for like £13 off Amazon. Thought that was a great deal. Tyrone, I was going to do that. I was going to play some Band on the Run. But when I was testing it, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's something to do with the frequencies or whatever. My microphone kept cutting out as soon as I started playing guitar. I was going to play Band on the Run. Well, thank you, Drew. Thank you for subscribing. I'm very thankful to you for that. I hope you're enjoying it. Thank you, Jonathan. Come on, last questions and comments. Questions about anything. Nothing's off limits here. Well, it might be if it's a bit weird. Might be off limits, but ask anything in these last 5 minutes, and we'll see what we get. Does the half-speed master sound any different than the CD or digital? Well, there's always going to be a difference between the CD and the vinyl. The vinyl's always going to sound more vinyl, sound more warmth. But what I will say is we discussed it earlier, but there'll be a lot of people around now maybe that weren't around earlier. The CD version of the main album that's in here, of the main Band on the Run album, it's the same masterings as on the 2010 Band on the Run archive. It's identical. So how this differs is purely the fact that it's the US track list, and I don't think we've had an archive collection remaster of the US tracklist released on CD before. That's the only difference there. Ringo is name checked in the Pet Shop Boys. Is this a new single? Because I know they've announced a new album, haven't they? Is it a new single? I don't know. I've not seen about that. Do we think Paul will tour the UK again? I'm sort of half expecting he'll do some gigs in the summer to be announced over here. Surely he will finish. Surely he'll finish in the UK when he does finish, if he knows he's finishing. Who will win the Superb Owl? Sorry, Super Bowl. I don't know. I can't answer that. I'd like to vote for a Superb Owl though. That would be fun. I'd vote for Professor Yaffle from Bagpuss. Do I have any original US version albums? If you mean the Beatles albums, all I've got, you can probably see them. Oh, let's get my finger right. There, I've got the volumes 1 and 2 of the Beatles Capitol albums. Oh, Richard, how many copies of Band on the Run have I got? I was actually looking at this the other day, thinking this is silly. I've got enough. I think, right, let's go through this. And I've actually got rid of one as well. My first Band on the Run CD that I don't have anymore. So we can't count that. So I've got the 25th anniversary edition. I've got the archive collection. I've got another version on CD of the archive collection. I've got the 2017 vinyl reissue. I've got an original pressing vinyl. I've got the new CD. I've got the new vinyl. I've got the new 2LP vinyl. I've got high res. I've got at least 9 versions of Band on the Run. It's ridiculous. Best Beatles podcast. Well, my personal favourite has to be the Egg Pod by Chris Shaw. Superb. And the guests that he gets on, fantastic. The fact that he's had like Michael Lindsay Hogg on talking about Let It Be, and he's had Patty Boyd on, and he gets great guests on there. So I'm going for Egg Pod, Chris Shaw. So folks, it's nearly past. I'm about to wrap this up. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining in on the World Cup. For anybody who missed the World Cup, if you want to see, I'll give you a last quick look at how that went. Here you go. We had a couple of preliminary rounds here to whittle it down to 8, and that is how it went. And Band on the Run ended. I've just realised there, Band on the Run, the Chandler Bing version, Band on the Run. I didn't realise that. But that's how it ended. So thank you very much, everybody who took part in that. So yeah, I'm going to say goodnight, everybody. Thank you very much. We've been on an hour and a half. That's enough for anybody, I think. I'll be back very soon, and thank you very much for watching. I will try and remember what buttons to press to stop this thing now. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Cheers, everybody.